Have you ever been in that moment, where everything feels calm, totally under control, and then bam, crisis hits unexpectedly?
Right.
And imagine it's not just any crisis, but a massive IT meltdown. Picture this. You're the CIO. You're literally minutes away from this triumphant presentation to Wall Street.
Big moment.
Huge. And then your phone goes off and you just know everything's falling apart. That's exactly where we're jumping in today. We're doing a deep dive into Chapter 10 of The Adventures of an IT Leader. It's called Crisis, which, well, is pretty apt.
Understatement.
We're following Jim Barton, IVK's new CIO. He's just starting to feel like he's got things turned around, and then this major system outage just shatters everything.
Yeah.
So our mission here is to pull out those critical lessons, for strategic IT leadership, service management, digital transformation, all viewed through those lenses we use: organizational, management, and IT issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Super relevant.
This is really for you, whether you're deep in BCIS 5381 or you're an IT pro just wanting to sharpen that strategic thinking. Because, let's face it, tech touches everything now.
It really does.
And hey, if you get something valuable out of this deep dive, maybe hit that follow button or share it. Or just, think about how it connects to your world. It helps us keep these conversations going.
Definitely appreciate that.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. Jim Barton, he's in Manhattan. It's morning. He's actually enjoying this, rare moment of peace before this big analyst meeting.
Yeah, the calm before the storm.
Totally. He's proud. IVK's gone from this sort of chaotic startup feel to what he thinks of as a lean service factory. And IT improvements, they've been driving the growth. He's literally polishing his slides, feeling good. Then the phone rings, that quiet moment. It's often the most dangerous, isn't it? Especially in IT.
Oh, absolutely. It's precisely when your guard might be down, even just a little, that disaster seems to love to strike. So Jim gets this call, and it's Bernie Rubin, his IT finance guy. And the tone is grim.
You can just imagine. Yeah.
Catastrophic outage. IVK's customer systems, the call center, the website, completely dark. And they've been down for 40 minutes already for a 247 financial firm. 40 minutes is, well, it's an eternity. Lost business, reputation damage. It adds up fast.
Oof.
And what hits Jim first? He's angry, almost feels like betrayed, especially when Bernie kind of hedges and admits they're following recovery procedures, such as they are.
Such as they are. Wow.
Exactly. That little phrase, it tells you everything, doesn't it? It screams organizational issue, a serious lapse in, well, organizational diligence, you could call it. It signals those plans aren't just old, they're basically useless.
So it's not just a tech failure.
Not at all. If you think about frameworks like COBIT, which is all about governing and managing enterprise IT, IDEA clearly hasn't been doing the basics like regularly reviewing and testing their critical business continuity plans. Big failure there.
It really sounds like it points to something deeper in the company culture, maybe, more than just overlooking a process.
I think you're spot on. Bernie actually tries to smooth it over, saying something like, outages happen, they don't always follow the script. Sometimes we have to wing it.
Winging it in a financial services company.
Right. That winging it approach is probably left over from their startup days, move fast, improvise. But it's led to what the book calls spotty process management and role ambiguity. Who actually owned keeping those plans updated? Who tested them? Probably nobody, consistently.
So that culture of speed, maybe innovation, it created this hidden risk.
Precisely. That lack of structure, that tendency to cut corners on process for speed, it's now biting them hard. It's that classic tension agility versus stability. Lots of companies wrestle with that.
Okay, so the systems are down, the recovery plans are sketchy, and then Jim learns about this absolutely bizarre flood of emails hitting the customer service inbox. Gotcha emails.
Yeah, wild, isn't it?
3 per second, no text in the body, just gotcha in the subject. I mean, from a security standpoint, what does that immediately make you think?
Red flag doesn't even cover it. It screams cyber attack.
Right.
That pattern, sudden, massive volume, identical, meaningless content, 3 a second. It's almost certainly a denial of service attack, a DOS. They're trying to flood the system, overwhelm it.
Okay.
And this connects straight to a classic IT issue, the whole pay now or pay later problem. Jim instantly remembers John Cho, the security lead, warning about a specific vulnerability. A vulnerability they didn't fix. Why? Budget constraints. Typical story, unfortunately.
And the irony here is pretty thick, isn't it? Because Jim himself.
Oh, it's painful. In his previous role as VP of Loan Ops, he argued against funding that exact security fix. Talk about a management lesson learned the hard way.
Wow.
It really highlights a weak IT strategy at the time, right? Security wasn't seen as strategic as core to risk management. It was just a cost.
Yeah.
Now, as CIO, Jim gets it. IT risk is business risk.
That's a huge shift in perspective.
Huge. And think about today, with cloud systems, a massive traffic spike like that, DOS or not, could also run up incredible cloud bills. Adds another layer of pain to the incident. So that core challenge, balancing cost, risk, resilience, still incredibly relevant.
And while Jim's grappling with this, the general counsel, Graham Wells, calls him. And Wells is apparently freaking out.
Totally losing it, yeah.
Yeah.
His perspective is purely legal nightmare. He's suggesting crazy things like cut the power to the whole company, just to build a legal defense later.
Cut the power, seriously.
Seriously. It's a perfect example of weak communication and, frankly, poor structure during a crisis. Total disconnect between legal, IT, the CEO.
So what should happen?
Well, in organizations that follow frameworks like ITIL for service management or COBIT for governance, you'd have defined crisis roles. Clear responsibilities. Who handles the tech? Who handles legal? Who handles communications? To avoid exactly this kind of panic and conflicting advice, Wells maybe trying to protect the company legally is actually making things worse operationally.
Right, creating more chaos.
Exactly. And then the pressure really ramps up because the CEO, Carl Williams, calls Jim. Williams has already talked to Wells.
Oh, okay.
And Wells has basically thrown Jim under the bus, painted him as non-responsive. So Williams hits him with, "Damn it, Jim!" And your butt is on the line. Intense performance pressure cascading right down.
How does Jim handle that?
This is actually a key moment for Jim in managing upwards. He doesn't panic. He calmly, gently tries to educate Williams. Tells him there's no such thing as impenetrable defenses in security. Good security manages risk. It doesn't eliminate it.
That's a really important distinction for a CEO to grasp.
Crucial. Guiding those executive expectations is a massive part of the CIO job. Setting realistic goals for risk, not promising perfect, impossible security.
Okay, so Jim's about to jump on this critical 10:15 a.m. call with his IT team. He needs to get a handle on things, but then Williams calls him back.
Yeah, just before the IT call. And this time, Graham Wells, the lawyer, is on the line too.
Uh-oh. What now?
They basically try to tell Jim not to join his own team's crisis call. They want him off it for, wait for it, plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. So he can go to the analyst meeting and claim he didn't know the full details.
Precisely. Keep him clean, legally speaking, maybe. Well, it's a wild suggestion. What does that tell you about the kind of pressures IT leaders can face? The ethical lines.
It sounds completely nuts. How does Jim react?
It's a defining moment for him as CIO, absolutely. Shows real leadership and accountability. You can almost feel him bristling. He takes a breath and just lays it out firmly. This is my area of the company, my problem, and I need to be responsible for it. Let me do my job.
Good for him, standing his ground.
Totally. He refuses to be sidelined, refuses to be just a figurehead. It's about taking ownership even when things are hitting the fan. That's core IT leadership. It's not just tech. It's integrity under pressure.
So Williams isn't happy, warns him again about his job.
Right, the butt on the line comment comes up again. Huge pressure.
But the team still mobilizes.
Yeah, despite that tension at the top, the IT team itself pulls together. It's all hands on deck. Shows there's some underlying strength there, some good teamwork, even if the strategic planning was weak.
Okay, so technically, what's the update from the IT side during that call? What did they figure out?
Well, Paul Fenton, who runs IT Ops, confirms the website was hit by a pretty sophisticated distributed denial of service attack, a DDoS, designed specifically to get around their defenses.
So the attackers knew what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. Shows that threats are constantly evolving, right? Static defenses just don't cut it. But the good news is Fenton's team is close to shutting it down. They adapted, showed technical skill. That's good incident management on the ground, good IT service management in action, even if the upfront security strategy failed them.
But that doesn't explain the other outage, the customer service systems.
Exactly. That's still the big mystery. They find this critical database file that's been mysteriously renamed. That's what broke the applications. The fix itself is easy, rename it back.
But how did it get renamed?
Right. Both Jim and John Cho, the security guy, are like, no way this happened by accident. It feels deliberate, subtle. It hints at an actual intrusion, not just a flood attack. Someone might have gotten in.
Which opens up a whole other can of worms.
Massive. Suddenly, it's about data governance. Compliance, did the intruders access sensitive data? Customer social security numbers. Now they're debating disclosure obligations. Do they have to report this based on just reasonable suspicion? Or do they wait until they know for sure data was lost? That's a huge legal and ethical tightrope, with potentially enormous consequences for IVK's reputation and finances. Very real-world CIO dilemma.
So the immediate firefighting is happening, but now these deeper conflicts, these simmering issues, they're really starting to surface, aren't they?
Oh yeah, boiling right over. It feels like years of maybe ignoring problems are finally coming home to roost.
What kind of conflicts are we seeing?
Well, there's this really sharp tension between Tyra Gordon, who's on the application side focused on business needs, and John Cho, the security lead, focused on risk and process.
Ugh, the classic business versus IT security clash.
Textbook. Tyra defends cutting corners on things like change management, bypassing proper procedures, she says, for good business reasons. Cho is obviously pushing back hard, insisting on compliance.
Yeah.
It just lays bare these organizational issues. Communication silos, departments pulling in different directions, business speed versus IT caution.
And this history of bypassing processes.
It's created a ton of technical debt, that hidden cost you rack up by taking shortcuts. You always have to pay it back eventually, usually when it's most inconvenient, like now.
And Ellen Ripley brings up another point related to that, right? About knowing what's actually on their systems.
Exactly. Ellen, another key IT person, points out that because change control has been so lax, they don't have a reliable inventory. They don't really know what software, what files should be on their servers. This is a huge configuration management failure.
So they can't easily spot something malicious if they don't know what normal looks like.
Precisely. They lack a proper CMDB, a configuration management database. That's your baseline, your source of truth for your IT environment. Without it, trying to find nastiness malware backdoors during an incident. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack, blindfolded.
Okay, so looking at the IT issues now, where does the conversation go in terms of fixing things? Remediation.
Well, John Cho, understandably, jumps right on it. He basically says, remember that security improvements project? The wish list I couldn't get funded.
Ah, the one Jim blocked before.
The very same. Joe says we need to accelerate that now. It's almost a cliche in IT, right? A major crisis finally shakes loose the budget for security work that should have been done ages ago. Reactive, maybe, but often necessary. It forces that IT strategy rethink.
But then Ellen Ripley comes in with something much more drastic.
Oh, yeah. Ellen proposes what Jim thinks of as the nuke from orbit option.
Nuke from orbit, what does that entail?
Basically wiping everything.
Yeah.
Completely rebuilding all their production systems from scratch, using known clean backups and verified code. It's the only way, she argues, to be absolutely sure there's no hidden malware left behind from the intrusion.
Wow. How long would that take?
That's the kicker. She estimates 3 to 4 days of complete shutdown, IVK's entire business operations offline.
For days.
The cost, the disruption, that would be astronomical.
Enormous. It's a brutal risk management dilemma. Option A, take this massive, guaranteed, incredibly painful hit right now. Option B, risk a potentially even worse disaster later if some hidden threat remains. It's a horrible choice to have to make.
That nuke from orbit idea, yeah, it's proposed by IT, but the decision itself, that feels like it goes way beyond IT, doesn't it? It's fundamentally a business decision.
You've hit the nail on the head. That's the crux of it. It's a management issue at the highest level. Jim realizes immediately this isn't his call to make alone. It has to be the CEO's decision.
So how does a CIO even approach presenting something like that? A disruptive, terrifyingly expensive option. That's where true crisis leadership comes in. Jim's job isn't just to present the technical problem, the possible intrusion, the unreliable systems, the lack of a good CMDB. He has to synthesize all of it. The tech reality, the business impact, the legal risks, the reputation damage. Translate it all into language the CEO and the board can understand. Lay out the awful options, and then guide them through that uncertainty.
It really shows how multifaceted that strategic IT leadership role is. You're not just the tech expert.
Not even close. You're a business leader, a risk manager, a communicator, sometimes even a diplomat, all navigating this incredibly complex intersection of technology and business strategy.
And thinking about today's world, does this scenario echo anything we're seeing now, maybe with things like AI?
Absolutely. It foreshadows so many current challenges. Think about generative AI adoption. Are companies rushing ahead, maybe overlooking the new data governance issues, the security risks specific to AI, the ethical considerations? Are we potentially creating new pay now or pay later situations by chasing AI benefits without fully understanding or mitigating the risks? Those core questions Jim faced, balancing speed, cost, innovation, and risk, they're arguably even more complex today.
So wrapping this up, This deep dive into IVK's crisis really pulls back the curtain, doesn't it? It shows how these organizational weaknesses, management gaps, and IT vulnerabilities are all deeply intertwined. They don't exist in isolation.
Not at all. One feeds the other.
And it hammers home that the CIO role, that IT leadership role, it's so much more than just keeping the lights on. It's about leading people, leading the business through incredibly complex, high-stakes, tech-driven challenges.
Couldn't agree more. It's strategic leadership, through and through.
Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration of crisis leadership. We really hope digging into Jim Barton's terrible week offered some valuable insights for navigating strategic information systems. If it did resonate, please do follow us wherever you listen. And we genuinely love hearing your perspectives too.
Yeah, definitely. So thinking about everything IBK went through and the lessons Jim had to learn almost instantly, what stands out to you listening right now? What do you think is the single most critical lesson from this crisis for preparing for the inevitable IT challenges we all face today? Is it really about the tech itself? Or is it more about the processes we build? Or maybe ultimately is it about the leadership and the culture we foster? Something to think about.